Okay, so this is Men North of Richmond cover lesson on the banjo. Take two, because of it was reported there was poor audio quality, which was most likely on my end. Thanks for reporting it, by the way. I think I've got it figured out. So we're going to kind of wing this one and re-record it, and bear with me. I'm going to try to take one, and there'll probably be many mistakes, but I think we can get through it. All right. So we're just going to go over some ideas. This is a good song. Got a lot of comments that were like, "Hey, I'm a beginner. Do you do tab?" And I don't do tab much anymore. Just as my progress from playing banjo and knowledge of music theory has expanded. I don't rely on it and need it. But there's nothing wrong with tab. But I don't have a tab program. But I think this is a great song for beginners to kind of explore some ideas, singing with the banjo and just putting together, a break or a pattern. And I'm just going to go over what I did because it was pretty straightforward. So the song, one of the first things to do when you got a song, especially like a folk song or a bluegrass tune or a singing tune, country tune, however they're labeling this tune, if you can put together the chord structure, you've got a pretty good idea. And Oliver Anthony plays this tune out of chord shapes. So let's just go over the basic chords. It's in the key of E minor. One other thing, the cover performance was done in I down-tuned. The banjo is normally an open G. I down-tuned to open F. So, and then played out of the G positions, E minor, C, G, and D, which is the chord structure, but it would have been down a whole step. So you'd have to shift all those chords down a whole step. So I'm in open G right now. And this song is in the key of E minor. First chord, let's go over the chord progression. E minor, C, G, D. I'm kind of catching some chords based on how I hear the melody, and I also put together some patterns based on how I hear Oliver Anthony's melody as singing. So he does something where he's like, "I've been selling my soul." So he's kind of starts low, goes up, and then comes back down. Not all the way down, but "I've been selling my soul." Maybe like halfway between the starting and the high point. So on the E minor, I'm kind of a little bit lower. I could catch the C here, but I'm going up to this C because that's just how I hear his vocals. Then I kind of come back through that G and then to that D. And then that chord progression just loops the entire song. Again, E minor, C, G, D. Okay. So what I ended up doing was putting together, like if you're a bluegrass player, the terms roll patterns. Again, because of the melody starting at a bass line, going up and then coming back down, that kind of accommodates a forward reverse roll. So just Google that if you don't know what it is. I didn't play it three-finger style, but I will put together a three-finger forward reverse roll over that chord progression. And hopefully no mistakes. It would be something like this. Okay, and that's just 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and it's, again, just Google the forward reverse roll. I think it's one of the easier bluegrass patterns or rolls or whatever to learn. And that's just the pattern. Like I said, it just matches that kind of how he sings it. I'm not hitting note for note. And a lot of times when you're backing up or you're playing your instrument, you actually don't want, especially when you're backing up as the melody is being sung, you actually don't want a lot of times to hit every melody note that the singer is doing. But as long as you can kind of get that same general feel of how the melody is progressing, kind of being in sync with that works good. Like I wouldn't want to do like a Foggy Mountain breakdown roll or something, with his vocals. So for you clawhammer players, how I played it. So a tune like this, the great thing is you could totally bum diddy through this. I didn't, but if you are a beginner, this would be a bum diddy through that chord progression. Sorry, I threw in some drop thumbs. Bum diddy 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 bum diddy. So that totally works. Some good concepts as you're doing those bum diddies, and in general, you probably do want to start on maybe the root note, especially on the one, the downbeat. This song, the lyrics and the way he structured the song it's kind of like these series of statements. I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours. So I really emphasized. I think I hit in the performance every the root note each time that chord changed. So I'll hammer on to the E right here. C, G, then I'll hit the low D for the bass. And so that's just targeting, and that's just kind of a general, probably a good thing to do with singing with the banjo is kind of target, especially as that chord changes, to target the root note. You don't have to. But I think for this song, again, it was so statement driven and downbeat heavy, it sounded good to target that note, that root note on the chord change. Yeah, what were some other? So I kind of liked the forward reverse roll pattern that kind of like the bluegrass players do, the forward reverse roll. So in clawhammer, and the way I played this tune. And this is kind of a more advanced, more advanced techniques in there. It would have been something like a bump a strum thumb, so a bump a diddy instead of a bum diddy. So it's one and two and, or bump a diddy. So starting from the E minor would be something like one and two and bump a diddy. And you don't have to do this. So that would be like the forward part, bump a diddy. And then to do reverse it, it would be drop thumbs going 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's go over the forward part again. It's 4, 3, 2, 5. And then to reverse it, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So connecting those. And I probably threw a hammer on that. The E minor always sounds good when you hammer on to it. So it was probably something like. So probably the note that's going to trip you up is the pa of the bump pa diddy. So I actually up pick, so it's not traditional clawhammer. You could also do an alternate string pull off, which is your left hand technique. Again, this is kind of advanced stuff. You don't have to do this, but if you don't up pick, you could do something like 4, pull off with your left hand. You don't have to get this advanced, but I think the exact way I played it was something more like a bump pa with a strum thumb. So something like it. And so I'm just going over the patterns because these patterns, I did the same pattern over the different chord structures. So now if we move on to the C, again, catching the C up here, the root note is on the third string. So whereas on the E minor, we're catching it on the 4. For the C, we're going to catch it on that third string. So it's going to be 3, 2, 1, 5. And then to reverse it, 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's connect those two. Again. Okay, and then the same concept though applies as we go to the G. I'm sure I did things. I don't really think about this as strategically as I play. I'm just kind of doing it. But something you could do if we go through the G, you could do it a lot of different ways. If you do the full 4-finger G, you could start it on the 4 string like you did on the E minor, or you could open up and do like 2 fingers down on the 2nd string, 3rd fret, 1st string, 5th fret, and then roll it just like you did the C. Or you could do something. I think what I actually like is 2 fingers down, roll it from the G string, the open G string, and then kind of putting that B note down as you're transitioning into the D. So it would be something like this. But again, so these patterns, these are just all kind of techniques that you can throw in a tune. I would encourage you to, if you don't know how to drop thumb. I mean, I sit here and do something like this all the time as I'm just watching TV. So we're just going to drop thumb 1, 2, 3, 4. You don't even need a left hand. Just get that solid 1 and 2 and bump a diddy, 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 bump a diddy. And then the great thing about that is, when you get those patterns and those techniques down, they just become automatic. You'll just start throwing them in. You won't be thinking a tab. You'll be like, oh, I like that, or I don't like that, or you'll be throwing in hammer-ons. I was doing a lick today for another song, and can't do it. I told you there's going to be mistakes. All I'm doing is on that bump pod, the ditty, just throwing in a slide. Anyway, that's where music becomes fun. So, and then the forward one, I like I said, I do some up picking, but I'll also connect them. So let's do forward, bump a diddy, 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 backwards, forward. I'll leave the left hand out. Bump a diddy, 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 backwards, forwards, backwards, forwards, and just so forth. And then your playing just becomes automatic. Sorry, I'm scratching my nose. I got an itch. But that's essentially how I played that tune. I just threw some basic patterns in over the structure. So it would have been something like, I do think of that song. He does, I think when he starts off with some pickup notes. So it's more like, I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay. And here it comes. Well, I could sit out here and waste my life away, drive back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame. But yeah, and from that point, as I'm playing that tune, I'm not thinking about patterns. They're just coming to me. So practice those patterns up. Sing with the band. Let's talk about singing with the banjo. So couple good ideas. When you are singing with the banjo, I wouldn't go crazy with the riffs or any fancy riffs, and I didn't put any in there. If you're gonna put them in there, I'd kind of like think of like what a James Taylor does, and I learned this from a Deering Live podcast. It's like when he's singing, he's like doing basic strums, and all those fancy riffs are kind of coming in the space of the music. And you could certainly do that on this tune. I didn't, but as when you're singing, I would probably just go back to a basic bum ditty or just a simple little picking pattern like I did, just to give you, the context of the song. And so to actually sing this song, his voice is a pickup note. So it's, I've been selling my soul. So and then he strums on the one beat of the downbeat of the chord changes. I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay. A couple things to note if you're a clawhammer player, especially doing those, leaving those notes out. Try to keep that pulsing hand going. So let's do that again. This is for you clawhammer players. I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay. I hope I could see my right hand. It's kind of, even though I'm not hitting anything, it's kind of going in tandem with my foot tapping. That's another thing, is that tap that foot too, is that claw hammer goes down. You can't see my foot, but it's tapping. And then if you're ghost noting those skips, or where I'm not striking any string, that pulse in that right hand is still going. That's a great thing about clawhammer is, a lot of times it's about leaving notes out. It gives it that syncopation and that feel that we love about clawhammer. So yeah, keep the as you're singing the song, keep the melody basic, keep your riffs in between the space. Target those root notes. I'm trying to think, was there anything else about this tune? That's it. It was just those strums that came in on those downbeats, then the picking pattern over the chord progression. Is there anything else? Keeping it simple as you're singing. Putting in any riffs in between the space of the lyrics or the melody as you're singing. That's about it. I mean, it's also, I'm glad more people are singing with the banjo. I've noticed it seems like not as many people are singing with the banjo on the Facebook groups that I post these videos on. So a couple people said it sounded good with the banjo. Thank you for that. I appreciate it, because I love singing with the banjo. And couple good channels to check out, because I'm not an advanced player at all. Clifton Hicks, love. He does a lot of stuff with singing with the banjo. I would like to do like a 2-finger pattern. I love the way 2-finger. I can't really do it, but I'm sure you could do like a 2-finger approach. Clifton Hicks is a good resource for that. Deering Live has a podcast. Matter of fact, they just recently released one with Michael Miles, I think is his name. I always want to say Michael Myers. It's getting almost Halloween season. But anyway, I think his name's Michael Miles. He has some awesome, he's an awesome player. He has a lot of rhythmic variation in his playing. And he talks about singing with the banjo. That's where I learned something. And I think they just put a recent one out. Deering Live, and then there's other banjo podcasts, but those are two that I follow and watch a lot and have learned a lot from. I can't really think too much. I mean, if you can't do those drop thumbs right yet, don't worry about it. Just put the bum ditty in there, or let's roll. I don't roll and sing, but I don't know why you couldn't do it. I'm actually going to try it. I've been selling my soul, working all day, overtime hours for bullshit pay, so I can sit out here and waste my life away. Drown back home and drown my troubles away. It's a damn shame what the world's got into for people like me and people like you. Wish I could. Yeah. So I got picks on for the claw, or not the claw hammer. Dang it, the Scruggs style. that sounded all right to me. I wish I could two finger. For some reason, two finger gives it a different feel. But that's about it. Leave any comments if I missed anything or you're confused about something, and I'll do my best to answer it. But it's a great tune. If this is the tune that gets you picking and singing on the banjo, have at it. See y'all later.